Welcome back to another episode of Wild Medicine. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Perris, and this week I am so excited to welcome back my friend Alli Arruda of Inspire and Move and Benchmark Gym here in Burlington, Ontario. And we are having a conversation all about that expansive season. When we are growing, when we are doing new things, building new businesses on that entrepreneurial journey, we wanted to have a heart-to-heart connection around how we personally build out our perfect day or our schedules in order to be able to continue to produce. We talk about my burnout experience and what not to do, and we collaborate in a really, I think, meaningful conversation around how we can best support ourselves in this growth season, because even though it's a very exciting time for any entrepreneur, it won't matter much if we feel burnt out and broken. And so we need to be very, very conscientious of how we spend our time and what we're going to do in order to take care of our health. So without further ado, I welcome Alli back to the podcast. Okay, so, when you had mentioned it this morning about how do we take care of our health in an expansion season, I have lots of pieces to add to that, and I'm excited to dive deep into a few of those. But I honestly said to you when I arrived here was, I feel like I'm on that building again, having been in an expansive season and not done it right. And usually there's a lot more lessons to be learned and to extrapolate the wisdom when things aren't working versus when everything clicks and goes well. So, I'm no stranger to, thankfully, I know a lot about health. And then that puts into question why I let burnout happen so many times. But I've learned a lot from, what happens when we do sacrifice, our own health, our own values and the things that actually sustain us in an expansion season. And, when I met you here with our scheduled time of arrival, our scheduled run in.
They'll meet cute.
Yeah. We looked at you, we're like, how are you doing? Like, you are doing amazing things right now. It looks very abundant. So I imagine you're like really feeling it. So we can talk to your personal experience of what it's like to be in an expansive season. I can speak to when it goes wrong, and then we can talk together about what we do to take care of ourselves, because I think this is so important, not only for us, but everyone who's listening on any entrepreneurial journey who has this desire to do what they love with purpose, but not with compromise or sacrifice, because it's, there's a lot of people who have built a lot of things, and once they get there, they're feeling pretty bankrupt and empty. So there is, I don't want to say right or wrong, but there's definitely a more aligned way of doing it, and there's a misaligned way of doing it. And so if we can, help one person be a little more aligned on their expansion, then we'll consider that a huge success.
Yes, I love that. And I love the notion of, deposits and withdrawals. And I think that is something that we could, you could really look at when it comes to making deposits into your health account and your well-being account, your mental health, how you're practicing self-care. And that doesn't necessarily mean like you're getting a loofah and a face mask, but like deep self-care, that deep work of how you're fueling your body, how you're replenishing yourself energetically. I'm big on the energy because I feel like I expel a ton of energy. And I think that's one of the, period, that could actually be a complete sentence, but I feel like it's one of the things I am most known for. And simultaneously, I am so proud of. But it is something just this week I've become very aware of. And I know I was sharing this with you before we hit record, that some of my close friends this week had sort of commented, like, you good? Like, your eyes look a bit tired. I was like, thank you so much for that lovely feedback. But it's honest, and they know me well. And so I think that this is it's such a timely conversation for me personally. And so I'm extra excited to have that with you sitting here all cozy in the studio. But I think, to your point, we can absolutely help other women, males as well, help them get ahead of this. If you are gearing up for an expansion season, are you already in an expansion season, and setting yourself up for success, not only for all the goals that you want to smash and dreams you want to achieve and scaling your business, but ensuring that you are doing it in the most responsible way for yourself. And I'm in it right now. And Matt and I always say this, how I feel like I've been in an expansion season for like 3 years.
That's what it's looked like.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a fair point. I'm like, it has felt kind of long.
For as long as I've followed you, it's looked like that.
I think it started in 2023, and sometimes it's cute. We'll be like, okay, this is the year we're going to rest. Like, we're going to go on vacation maybe twice, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to do this, but then every year, I just kind of want to raise the bar and get really excited about it. And that is a really amazing feeling when, yes, you are working on the weekends or you're working late, but you're doing it within your own dream.
I'm going to add to that because this is the thing that was so fascinating to me, because when I burnt out multiple times, but at the peak of it, it was so confusing and I felt almost betrayed because what I was doing, I loved so much. And yet my body, I just had pushed well beyond my capacity. And definitely we can talk about what I abandoned on the way up to that piece that allowed that to happen. But, you know, I think this is where we need each other in this journey, and where we need discernment through communication around those pieces, because I think we can, as high achieving individuals, withstand a lot of pressure and be super tempted at all the opportunities. And it takes an incredible amount of discernment and I think communal support, from what I've learned, to be able to make sure that we're on the right path, doing what we love, but in a sustainable way. And, you know, you bring up the part about your energy, and that for sure is a huge part of your brand. There's absolutely no denying that anyone who meets you, you are you 100% of the time. Like, that must take an incredible amount of like recalibration on the other side. So what are some things that you've figured out for yourself to be able to show up in that capacity and be in service of others? Because I think you really are someone who's trying to uplift and create a space where people can tap into that joy and really like sort of plug into you a little bit. I'm sure it feels like an immense amount of pressure at moments.
Totally. And this is a very humbling question because I wish I had a much longer answer. So this is some great homework for me. But the biggest thing for me is exercise. That is a huge energy generator for me. And now I've also welcomed cold plunging into my routine that sometimes, like last Friday, for example, we had a massive day. We have this big, exciting project on the go for Benchmark Fitness, but also we did an in-studio podcast day. And I had to add in there, I was like, I know I'm going to have my workout at 9 a.m. with my trainer, but I actually also want to carve out some time for a cold plunge, which you don't typically want to do actually right after lifting weights.
I loved that you posted that.
Yeah, but I did make an exception. I did it for like 2 minutes. I was like, it's not my normal amount of time.
There goes your muscle hypertrophy.
I know. That's why my muscles are so small since last Friday. But I have to do it more for my mental and emotional health versus from an optimization standpoint versus the other benefits that come from cold plunging. That is like, I need to add this into my schedule. So I'll have a really quick shower. I will possibly, enjoy my smoothie in the cold plunge, which I did not. And I actually don't recommend that.
Habit stack.
So I was on my way to my hair appointment and then my makeup appointment. So that's like a smoothie is great on the go for that. But energy generation for me so often comes from moving my body. And sometimes I'll even suggest like a walking meeting, or I love doing that in the gym when I'm in the walls of our gym, just asking someone, okay, well, walk with me. I'm going to refill my water, or I'm actually going to get on the treadmill. Why don't you walk with me there? And I can just get some steps in and generate some energy. But I listened to a great podcast yesterday with Lori Harder and Lindsay Schwartz, and actually Dr. Jordan Wiggins. And it was an older episode, but Lindsay was talking about not necessarily identifying yourself with feeling lazy, but actually replacing that with stillness. And it resonated with me because I thought that's something that I should really prioritize welcoming into my routine. I grew up as an only child, so I'm very comfortable with my own company. And I actually think I'm starting to crave it a little bit. And I have an amazing relationship with my husband, who's also my business partner, and we truly love doing everything together. And so maybe outside of my time spent with Matt, I really enjoy time alone. And that could be journaling. I've up-leveled on my journaling practice just this year as a part of wanting to up-level myself with success and reading. But I think I could do a much better job of prioritizing both of those practices.
So I'm going to piggyback on what you said there, because I think you said something really important, and everyone in my community resists this every time I bring it up. But the power of cold plunging. At the peak of my burnout, the thing that brought me back to life was sitting in ice baths. and that forced stillness. I am an intense personality, and although I maybe don't present that on this podcast, I am an intense personality, and so it's full on until I crash. And so I think part of that burnout picture for me was working until literally I would slam the laptop down and try and fall asleep. And it was like this stiff body that had no recalibration or restoration time to try and lie down and sleep. And if we know anything about the human body, that's just not how it works, right? There has to be this shift back into that rest and digest state. And
also a powerful takeaway for me to add to my homework list.
Okay, great. Yeah. I'm glad. Okay, so this is why I invested in my own cold plunge, because I really felt like it saved my life. Like it brought me back down to earth. And the very first time I did my first cold plunge, probably wasn't even that cold compared to how cold we can get our plunges now. There was just like this, it forced stillness. You have to catch your breath. Like you have to slow down. You have to be in the moment. It's like, it's just a moment for yourself and your vagus nerve to kick in. And it's just like, hence why maybe not eating and cold plunging, but whatever. Sometimes we have it stacked. But I remember that very first night and I melted in my bed and I was like, is this what normal humans do?
How did you sleep?
Like beautiful. And that for me, and at every wild circle, I'm like, if you're feeling burnt out, a cold plunge, and everyone's like, no, that'll never, but I think you're missing out on a huge opportunity because it is a very quick way back home to yourself, back to your breath, back to that stillness. And I really, I love that reframe of from needing to be away from people, or we need stillness. Like stillness is vitally important. And I am happily married and I have got chaotic, loud house with children and animals and all the things. I crave stillness. And so when I can get outside and get in my plunge and have like 2 minutes to myself, it's like the whole world, the way I see the world changes almost immediately. So I don't think there's anything really more powerful.
Well, you've probably romanticized your cold plunge time that's very intentional for you to reconnect with yourself. And I like that it's also efficient. Like you can gain so much from a cold plunge experience for a very finite amount of time. So for all of you habit stackers and efficiency people, high performers, you can do so much with cold plunging, or maybe you want to put a meditation in. Like you're talking 5 minutes tops, like that, and that's a long plunge.
I would agree.
You will be really cold, especially if you live in Ontario in the winter doing cold plunging. But I love my sweet spot actually is about 3.5 minutes, where I don't feel really cold after. I feel resilient. I feel sharp, and I get out. I feel skinny. All big benefits.
All good things.
All good things.
It's really interesting. I have an 11-year-old daughter who is struggling with some moments of anxiety, and all being a kid is hard. But her drive to want to end her day in cold before she goes to bed, you're like, she's just naturally picking up on these things that are, so I think that of all the things that we can do, and I know what we're saying sounds intense, but for the short period of time, the return on investment, it's massive. And to be able to have access to something like that at your gym, I think is just such a, gives such an edge to what health can look like, right? Because it is vitally important, and it's so simple. I think we talked about this last time, but we overcomplicate health and we overcomplicate, biohacking and the latest and greatest, and there really are very, very simple things like moving your body, prioritizing protein and sleep, hydrotherapy. Like there are very, very simple things that we could be doing that are going to really drive the needle, that take care of us so that we can go and do really important things in the world, right? So it doesn't have to come from, 10 bottles of supplements or whatever, because there's a lot of noise, and my thoughts on that. But it can be really simple. It gets to be simple if we want it to.
And I think being able to find those things and not feeling guilty about prioritizing them, that, I currently am training in the gym. So my mornings look differently. It's not, my perfect morning with journaling and Palo Santo. I get that some mornings, but not every morning. Not yet, not at this very moment in my life and season that we're in. But being able to also be aware that, okay, I'm going to train from 9 to 10. with my trainer, but I don't want to book something unless it's like a must have until maybe 11 a.m. onwards, because I want to make some time for maybe like a 10 to 20 minute walk with a podcast to exercise my brain, fuel myself with something positive, and consume that to start my morning. Maybe it is a cold plunge, depending on the training day, or red light therapy and a meditation, but things that I know that are going to set me up for success for the rest of my day or the rest of my week. If it is a podcasting day, creative shoot, meetings, and not feeling guilty about that.
So what if we did this and we picked each other's brains about like the perfect day, a way you would care for yourself in expansion season? Like, what are your non-negotiables, morning, noon, and night? And how are you making sure you're making yourself and your health a priority?
I'm really finding joy. Maybe that's not the right word, but I'm finding gratitude in like a regular rise time of 6 a.m. where I was previously training at 6 a.m. So that means a 4:45.
You're sleeping in.
Yes, I'm sleeping in. Woo, I'm getting crazy.
You're so
till
cute.
6. And I can't wait till the sun rises a little earlier because it's still quite dark. But I actually don't mind that it's dark when we have a coffee together. And Matt and I have really started to create a slow morning routine with a lo-fi playlist, Palo Santo, coffee in a mug, for I swear, for anyone in like
100%.
maybe a mom, trainers, like early morning people, when you get coffee in a mug, that is a joy moment. And we have probably a Hamilton Beach coffee maker, but drip coffee is now associated with some happy memories for us. So there's extra joy attached to the coffee in a mug. Our dogs are all calm. They're all cuddling on the couch. And so often Matt and I will just sort of schedule sync our day. Like, what does your day look like? All right, how long are the dogs away for? Or do you need a drop off or a pickup? When are we going to have dinner? Sort of what we each have going on. Then when our days come together, we'll do our Power 9, which we adopted from Chris and Lori Harder. 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 things you're excited about, and 3 things you're manifesting. If I have extra time, I love to do maybe a 10-minute read or journal. Both would be perfect.
Next level.
But now this is like getting to be a longer morning routine. And I'd say my ideal workout time is an 8 or a 9 a.m. workout.
Okay.
I don't mind 9 because I feel like it allows for a nice, spacious, slow morning with a morning routine. Sometimes we can even get out for like a 30-minute dog walk, which is great for morning movement. Ideally get some sun in your eyes, some fresh air, and then the dogs have energy. Train 9 to 10. Get a coffee, post-workout coffee, nice reward. And then maybe also having some time for optimizing, recovery with that red light therapy, or again, depending on the day, for training, cold plunging. And then we start the day.
I love that.
Maybe a massage. That if I'm going on dream day, I'm just going to add in like a 90-minute massage.
Put it out there.
Yeah, and maybe some reflexology. And early bedtime. And like a top-notch 8+ hour sleep.
You do right that you go to bed early.
And that's something that's new-ish for me.
Okay.
Sleep health was actually the last pillar when you're talking about like Alli or Matt and Alli's like health routine. Sleep was the last pillar. Because when we first started dating, we laugh how like we would go to bed like 1:30. Ick. No offense to people that go to bed that late. But it is just not I can't now.
Oh, for sure.
We'll have like wonderful family dinner nights and it'll be like 11:30. I'll be like, okay guys, like gotta get going. Gotta wrap this up. Because we gotta get up early in the morning. But it's also, it depends who you're spending your time with, because people are operating on very different schedules and routines and what's a priority for them. But I really love trying to be asleep by 10 to 6, 8 hours.
Very good.
Happy clam.
That's very good.
Okay, I need to hear about yours. Tell me about your perfect self-care day.
So I've had to spend time figuring this out. So I'll take it a step back. If a really good flowing week for me will include protein prep on Sundays. Like
okay, talk me through this protein prep. I need the skinny here.
Yeah. So my husband doesn't let me shop. He does all the grocery shopping for us, but he's really, really great, and everything gets delivered to us just to make our lives easier.
Okay, love that.
And then we'll decide together what proteins we'll be making for the week. And then I always, for myself, and this is just because I've been so disciplined with my nutrition and really needing to fuel with high protein, I'll make sure that I always have like backup. My lunch bag comes with me everywhere. So a perfectly expansive week that's caring for myself, I'm prepping like ground beef, chicken breasts, steaks for a couple of days so that I can actually pre-package all of my lunches and dinners if I need to be out of the house.
Okay, now I have a sidebar question.
Okay.
I need to know what you eat in a day for protein.
So I am eating close to 120, 130 grams of protein per day.
Okay, yeah, and we need to start with first thing in the morning. I need to know the full scoop here.
Okay, so like what I'm doing or food?
I think now I need to know your entire day. Like I need to know what time you wake up.
Yep.
And then when do we work out? When do we eat our first like dose of protein?
Yeah. Okay. So I am similar to you. I will set my alarm clock for just before 6 a.m. Sometimes I snooze, but I will get up and I know.
Living dangerously, Michelle.
My chronotype is I'm a night owl. So I have evolved.
So did I just totally diss you and I was like,
You would
oh,
diss
the 1:30
me, but
a.m.
I'll lick my wounds later. No. My husband likes to stay up that late. Still, I cannot. I absolutely cannot. I need sleep. And
Apologize to him for me.
Yeah. I will.
Very strong opinions.
This one. It's so funny. Okay, so I will wake up around that time. The first thing I do is move my body because I am not like you, and I pray to be like you one day, but I need to move before my brain has figured out what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll skip it.
And you work with a trainer virtually?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So I start my day with movement. 30 minutes, never go over. I know we could talk about this another day, but that was my like healing from burnout. These were like the little baby negotiations I had to make myself a priority. I'm such an extreme personality. It's like all or nothing. So if 30 minutes was good yesterday, 45 is better today. And so I had to learn to work with parts of my personality that would then quit. So I don't do that anymore. I move my body every day for 30 minutes. And then I do need quiet time. So those 2 hours from 6 to 8 before I am responsible for any other living being in my house, that's my time. And that is an absolute priority. So I have quiet time after that, whether it's stretching, prayer, reading, or doing like creative work. I love what we do. Like I love being an entrepreneur. I love thinking of new businesses, new ideas. And so I give myself, I make the things that are a priority for me. I make sure they're done first. And then if there's time left over, then I can use that creative time to do whatever. So if it's working on social media or newsletters or a new offer, that will happen in that time. Shower, and then manage family. So then I'm mom mode, making
come
lunches.
out of quiet time.
Right. And it's full on, right? So making lunches for everybody, making breakfast, making sure everyone's brushed their teeth, because even though they're teenagers, you still have to ask these questions. I never thought that would be my thing.
Big pillar of the day.
But that's the thing. So I'm hot coffee in a coffee cup. And you know what? I like what you said, and I just want to highlight this. I think why your routine sounds so beautiful is that you're able to be in the presence of it, right? Sometimes we're looking for the 90-minute massage or the vacation away, but what if we just had like a reverence for the sacredness of what already is? So for you to slow down and sip the hot coffee and lay with your dogs, you do a good job of like highlighting those moments where you can really tell that there's a reverence for the real things that move the needle on health, right? So I am not doing it's rushed, but at least it's a hot coffee in a mug. I fully respect and appreciate that piece. And then I'm like off to the office and I eat breakfast as soon as I get there. So
which is what?
Like 10.
Oh no, well, I need to know
what is for
breakfast.
You. Okay.
I love that you have
42 grams of protein.
Okay. I thought you were about to say 42 eggs and then I didn't have a follow-up question.
Okay. I think we should talk to your doctor.
Yeah, I just need to touch base on your cholesterol.
I have 2 eggs every day.
Okay.
I eat the same breakfast every day. Okay, want to talk about simplicity of health? Some things you need to not think about. And
which is breakfast. Same breakfast.
And
it makes
very
you feel good.
Similar meals. I'm not a chef. I love to eat well, but I need Monday to Friday to move smoothly. So one way I've done that is like a lot of my meals look similar, but my breakfast is always the same, but it's quite diverse. So eggs, Frank's Red Hot, because
love that because you're hot.
Yeah. Thank you. Half a scoop of protein powder, whey protein powder. And then I like measure
Where's the protein
everything.
powder go?
In my, yeah.
In your eggs?
We could do this all day. No, it's in a separate container with cottage cheese and sheep's yogurt.
Oh,
You shop
okay.
at Costco.
Yes.
The sheep yogurt there.
Okay.
You'll thank me later.
All right. Okay. Also adding to my homework.
So good.
My homework list is getting kind of long.
I know. And then fruit and flax seeds and cinnamon. So 42 grams of protein in all of that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I hope everyone took notes.
And like, I think like 500 calories. Like it's a robust meal. Fuel the machine.
Yeah.
When I was in burnout, I was doing a ton of intermittent fasting, which I don't recommend for women. And it wreaked havoc on my hormones and made me very weight resistant, in my opinion.
And people ask me that a lot as a trainer and gym owner of like and I'll get requests like, can you post what I eat in a day?
Yeah, you don't.
I've never posted it, and it's nothing really glamorous because
I think that's why I know.
But maybe that's what people want to see.
I think we need to see that
because I feel like there's so many beautiful Instagram influencers that post their what I eat in a day with like this like clay plate and a gold spoon. I was like, okay, well I'm drinking my smoothie while I'm training clients, and it's a plastic shaker bottle.
But we need to know how how are you fueling, right? Because I think for most of us, it's very simple food. And then the rest of my meals are very like similar in the sense they're high protein. So
okay, what's lunch?
Animal protein always. So I love ground beef. I love steak. I love beef, like Alberta girl. Maybe I come by it naturally,
fair.
but blood type O lends well to more
You're an energetic match.
Yeah. And then usually fruits or veg. I usually have a fruit and like peanut butter or nut butter snack, and sweet potatoes. Like it's just like roasted, whatever can be like prepped and batch cooked. Like I usually on those Sundays batch prep a bunch of sweet potatoes so that I can just like add it. And then I take whatever veggie medley, whether it's frozen or bought, steam or roast that. And then I layer my food. So it's like sweet potato, veg, protein on top, Frank's Red Hot.
Okay.
Like simple. Simple.
Little stack. Okay.
Yeah. And then I have my lunch bag everywhere. Like
so you have an afternoon snack?
Yep. Apple and nut butter.
Delish.
Dinner's not dissimilar. So protein and salad or roasted veggies if I don't really eat a lot of grains. I know that's not for everybody.
I have a question for you.
Yeah. No,
I don't. How do you feel about rice?
I love it. Like I'll eat it. And the odd time I'm fine. But what I've noticed for me is that my blood sugar is really sensitive. And if I eat too many grains, I like fall asleep like a hibernating bear. Like I cannot, it just doesn't feel good to my body.
So rice for you is like a Five Guys burger.
Kind of.
For an afternoon snooze.
I make tons of sourdough for everyone I love and I don't consume any of it.
Oh, I'll put that on my request list for our next podcast
I will
date.
absolutely bring you some.
I love sourdough.
How dare I not?
I know. I heard you and Matt talk about it earlier. I love sourdough.
I gave him a loaf, actually. I know. Rude.
Rude.
Yeah.